Today we spoke to Dr. Ernest Eastmond, a descendant of the emancipated slaves who had settled in Sierra Leone in 1787. We asked him about the early history of his country.
The colony of Sierra Leone was founded by several waves of people of African origin. The first set were slaves in the cities of England who had been freed by the judgment of Lord Chief Justice Mansfield in 1772. On being set free, their masters abandoned them, and they roamed about as itinerant vagrants, causing trouble to the poor law authorities of England. Granville Sharp and his friends, who afterwards were responsible for the abolition of the slave trade, 1807, the abolition of slavery, 1833, formed a society for the relief of poor blacks and collected all these former slaves now destitute in London. Some had been servants from the West Indies, not farm servants, but the house servants they were, and some were ex-soldiers from British regiments. They collected them to the number of about 411, and with the help of the British Navy, transported them to the Sierra Leone River. There was no Freetown in those days, and the land was bought from the Timony King and given over to the English government for the use of these poor blacks who had just come from Britain. About 8 years later, there was a war in Jamaica called the Maroon War, and at the end of that war, the Maroons were captured and transported to Nova Scotia. And again, these Maroons from the West Indies were brought to Sierra Leone. And Sierra Leone then had two communities: the settlers, mostly from America, southern states, and the Maroons from the West Indies. In 1807, slave trade was abolished, and the British fleet had the task of intercepting ships taking slaves from Africa to the West Indies and America. These slaves and ships were landed in Freetown and legally and formally set free, and the ships destroyed.